Hey traders, Nick, recapping the day. Today is Thursday, and a very bullish day. Even though the scoreboard was like halfway bullish, the Dow, S&P, SPX are up zero point 0.4, Nasdaq zero point 0.3, and the small caps zero point 0.4. The mid caps last time I checked, it was up points to outperforming zero point 0.7. VIX was down, although it held green for most of the day, and then it went down. But the story today was that Draghi delivered another promise. He didn't actually deliver anything. He just delivered the promise of something. So people are again buying into the spirit. However, this time around, I think that what they bought is the fact that he didn't back down. He got challenged by the Eurozone on the fact that he chose some harsh, some levels. That he committed to something verbally, and they kind of challenged him on it, and he didn't back down. So the hopes, I think, that his words today were combative, so it sounded like he was going to defend his position. So he's got another month to try to convince them to go along with the QE. So if not by December, by January. So it's kind of like a done deal. It's just he needs time to get it done. So, however, so now the economic reports from Eurozone will be important because good news may turn out to be bad news because then he loses arguments. If the economy is getting better, then his argument is weaker as to why he needs QE at this point. So that's the story on the run up today. And in the pre-open, this is the the ES S&P. So we were about 2013 on the ES, and then he started speaking right here, and we rocketed up 13, 14, 15, 16, 13 points. And then we opened, and then we went straight down. So I thought to myself, okay, the markets are kind of sane, not crazy, and they didn't buy his yak this time. But then again, V recovery right back up there. And then we spend the rest of the day trying to retake that zone that they opened in the morning. And guess what? They did it. What helped a lot is this strange occurrence right here. This is Apple, somewhere around here. Look at the volumes. These are volumes, and then boom, 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 boom. Two major candles that got us up there, and then pulled the ES with it and the Nasdaq with it. So the S&P and the Nasdaq revisited the highs and got straight up to them in the straight up to the pre-open highest levels, and we closed higher than that. So another record high. Surprise, surprise. Starting to smell like 2013. So the small caps also did the same thing, except they did it in just after hours. So the small caps also reached their target in the morning. These are the small caps right here. So oil took a dump, but not as big as it could have been. Look at where it was, and then it recovered, but it's still down 0.8%. That's oil. The TLT, which are the bonds, were down, and that's conducive to a market run-up. Conversely, the rates were up, and that's also conducive to a market run-up. So everything was lined up for a market run-up today, and everybody wheeled it up. The only thing, one of the few red things was Google, but we knew it was going to be under pressure. I think it closed about 0.7% down. That's Google. That's not one day, that's about 10 days, just to show you. So now I'm kind of like starting to think about, okay, I'm comfortable going Google somewhere. So tomorrow I would probably start lining up a good entry point on Google. I also like Alibaba. So instead of just spending time arguing about thesis and all of that, we'll talk about thesis some other time. Actually, let me quickly mention that somebody asked me. My global thesis has been for the whole year is that we have room to move up and the downside is limited. And I was proven right on the downside part, and now I'm being proven right on the upside part. However, the steepness of which we're recovered from the down below the sell-off is over 11% in just days. That makes me very uncomfortable entering long at such a steep rate. So I'm very hesitant to do so. So what I'm going to do is try to come up with some bullish positions I can take in a few good names in order to trade my thesis. Right now I can only trade the short side, but it's difficult. I don't want to get stuck in 2013 mode. So I need to find some long positions, and I'm looking at Alibaba long term is a good long position. If I want to buy it, the stock, and sleep on it, I can buy some in the money calls that are 2015 or 2016 and sleep on them. Those are money in the bank unless it's a complete lie and a sham. So Alibaba a good long. Google shortly is a good long. Apple should be a good long. The downside is somewhat limited, and for it to make sense, I'll probably go out in time. The indices long positions are harder now unless I want to stick and move, and I don't like to do that for the portfolio. By that I mean shorter periods of time. So overall, it's better that we find some good names that we want to go long. Like Chipotle is a possible good entry point. And we'll see what we can find tomorrow on a better day. Now, I did have a question today from a member who's asking, a fairly new member that wants she wants to enter her first position, and she's using Trade Monster. So I'm going to take the time and go through setting up one trade. Not recommending that particular trade, just showing how to actually enter the trade in on Trade Monster platform. So stay with me here for a second. Okay, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and bring in my platform in here, and this is a paper trading account in Trade Monster. And by the way, paper trading is a great way to learn. If you're not sure what to do, you can just paper trade. So the option chain, it looks like this in Trade Monster. Chipotle. Okay, and the change of color is where price is. And these are the puts and these are the calls. See, calls, puts. This is November. I chose November. I could have chosen next week. Definitely not this week. I choose November. 16 days is a good time to take a risk on. All right, so current price is 647-ish. So right about here. All right. If I'm, quick lesson, if I'm bearish, I buy one of these. If I'm bullish, I buy one of these. I can buy a spread. I can buy a spread. That's also bearish. Buying spread. Buying a call spread is bullish. But here, I think the question was about doing an iron condor, selling one. So we will need to do a bullish position using the credit put spread. So we will be selling one, buying one. So selling one, buying a lower one. And doing a credit call spread, selling one, buying one. Okay, selling, buying. What does that mean? It means I want price to stay in between those two, between now and the next 16 days. It's actually the next 15 days. So here's what you can do. You can either leave the view as this, but I prefer doing this. If you wanted to leave the view as this, you click on one leg and you say create spread and you say vertical. And now you have the makings of the order right there. As soon as it comes up. And I want to not buy it. Buying it would be going long. I want to sell it. Okay. And I want to get to the mid. See, I don't care about bid and ask. I know the mid, the mark, whatever you want to call it, midway between bid and ask will be the right price for it. Okay, so I can save it and move on to the next one. All right, so instead I can do this and change the view to a vertical. So now when I'm looking at this, I see spreads. So I don't have to do the math. So I know this spread pays 40, or so it says. It may not be exactly 40, so I'll have to open up. So if I wanted to sell this one, let's do the 41, round numbers. If I'm bullish and I think that in the next 16 days it's not going to lose 25 bucks, I can sell this one. This is not a recommendation for this particular leg. I sell it and I know I can move it. Okay, they're asking for 40. I'm going to try at 60 because you never know. It might be a liar, right? And I hit confirm. So what happens? Now I read this. This is the final step before I send the order. I read it. Sell 10 November contract of 2014. I'm selling at 625. It's right here. Sell 10 625. Buy 10 622.5. So I'm selling the one that's closer to price. So that's the credit spread, right? For this, I'm collecting 600 bucks, but I have to give back some money on fees. So I'm really collecting $584. This goes into my account. It's not mine until I win, right? And I hit send, and then it should appear right here. But for some reason, the platform is not showing it. So let's say it did show up. It'll be right up here. So I start at 40. See, the order is open here, but it's not showing up. So it's I I start at 40 or I start at 60 and 70, and then I walk it down until it executes. It should execute around the mark, but in this case it's so fuzzy, they're so close together that it could be a liar, so it may be 40, 35, whatever, until, as long as it makes sense. And I'll do the opposite here. I sell this one and it's showing me 0.37. I'll ask for, whoopsies, zero point 0.4 or 0.45. It's all in my favor. Same thing, right? I'm collecting 450, but I have to give back 15 bucks. I'm collecting four. So for both, I'm collecting almost $1,000. And if I do this, now I have two orders open, and I'm not sure why it's not showing me that. Maybe if I put CMG here, that symbol, maybe that'll force it. There they are. Weird, huh? Bugs. I'm not going to report it. Let them fix it. I don't have time. So these are two that are open and they're working. So if I click on it, it says, okay, the mark is 40. I'm asking 60, and that's why it's not executing. So I'll go, okay, modify, and I can click it down, or I can enter it. I don't like to enter it because chance of making a mistake. So I can get down to the mark or a little higher and try it again. It'll automatically change the order number and retry at the other price. Or I can just leave it open. So anyway, having both open, let's say they become positions, right? They're not going to become positions now because the markets are closed. Let's say they become positions. Then I didn't double my loss, because potential loss, because I can only lose on one side or the other. If price goes way down, this loses, but this wins. So I can't lose on both. If price goes ways up, this loses. But so I'm collecting 1,000 in this case, bucks. And I would just want price to be in here. So this is it. That's how you do it. Hopefully that helped you out. And if you have any other questions, let me know. So what's going to go on tomorrow? Tomorrow is all about jobs. Today we had jobs report, but it was the kind of jobs where people are, the new jobless claims, basically. So the unjobs, if you want. But tomorrow the real jobs numbers come out, among other things. So, but people are going to look at jobs. I think a strong number, something over 300,000, will cause a rip in the markets. A rip higher, I should say. And in this environment, I think they want to buy it regardless. So upside bias, we should be coming into tomorrow morning with an upward bias, regardless of jobs or not. And then the jobs will be just bonus. Now, if the jobs picture is completely bogus, like being in the hundreds, 100,000 or something, then there might be some disappointment there. But even then might be temporary, because they are adamant they want to run it up. That's it. Sorry about the length of the video. Actually, it's not that long. It's only 10 minutes. Boy, I must have been talking really, really, really fast. All right, so since I have another 5 minutes or 3 minutes to see scan really quickly. So CMG I like to start going long. Tesla I don't. As a matter of fact, I shorted it today, and what I did is I bought a broken wing, and this is basically almost a debit spread on steroids, and for December. So I have until December to be proven right. Meanwhile, I did an iron condor for next week. So as long as it stays between 263 and 217, then that December position will be for free. So I'm comfortable with this position. So this is it for today. I will get to you in the morning before the open with some other information based on whatever happens between now and then. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.